Nice headline, walking, talking disasters. We've been talking about just about the situation with Mick Cronin, the fact that their season's fallen apart. They're not going to any postseason play. And this is UCLA, and they're not going to any postseason play. They've been hurt. Guys have come. Guys hit the transfer portal the last couple of years. Guys file for the NBA draft. They're playing in the NBA G League now, where they could have done what Ledee did and stayed another year and grown as a player, as a person. And Mick is not handling this adversity. And I'll tell you what, they sit here at the end of the season. I mean, they just got creamed by Arizona on Thursday night in the Pac-12 conference. And I think I know what's coming what's coming next. You know, he just continues to talk. Not a clue on defense. Then he's a defensive coach, and his kids just don't do it. Not enough on offense. That's a byproduct of losing Bailey last year, who jumped to the NBA after half a season. And this comes on the heels of the last explosion. That how can you build a team roster with guys who won't fight? And then the prior explosion, the first time this all happened, don't call your mama. She doesn't want to answer the phone, and no one wants you in the transfer portal. Tell you what, he's borderline right now, just emotionally unraveling. And I could see him standing up at press conference at the end of the season. Here's the 800 number, you guys. Call the transfer portal. They got a problem. He's got the 4 Euros who have really gone through a culture shock thing. I wonder if how many of those guys are going to stay, because they're not handling this Pac-12 level of ball very well. And I don't think these players are handling the abuse that they seem to be getting dumped on. I mean, he's had 3 explosions now with the media. Mm-hmm. So that's a big issue there. So we got Mick Cronin. And then we got Chip Kelly, who didn't talk to anybody in the media after he walked away from UCLA, and he didn't say goodbye to his team. Chip Kelly at spring football practice in Columbus with Ohio State, where he's now assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, finally spoke out this week. At the end of the week, Chip Kelly was asked, why? Why did you leave UCLA, dream job, one of the highest paid coaches in the history of the Pac-12 conference? Quote, I did not want to be the CEO of a football program. He didn't like what college football has become. Nick Saban's kind of enunciated that. Double Sweeney at Clemson has enunciated that. I did not want to be the CEO of the team, which meant he didn't want to deal with the NIL. He didn't want to deal with boosters. And he was kind of adverse to the transfer portal, although he did jump in and use it. He said, I want to go back and just be a position coach. He said the happiest time was when he was a position coach coaching quarterbacks. Unhappy time is when he had to deal with money, and he had to deal with transfers, deal with people tampering with his players, and dealing with the freaking media. He just wanted to be a position coach. He says, all I want to do is coach X's and O's and nothing else. And he wrapped up his brief comment to the Columbus reporters by saying, best part of college football is coaching college football. None of this other periphery stuff. So Chip Kelly finally admits, I couldn't handle it. He's not the only one. Brady Hoke is one. Jeff Tedford is another, the coach up at Wyoming. Those are all really good veteran coaches who said, I can't exist in the atmosphere that exists right now. So UCLA basketball coach, ex-UCLA football coach, and John Riley in left field says,
well, the Mick Cronin kind of thrown his players under the bus,
Again, and again.
Yeah, so it reminds me of a piece of advice my friend Larry told me one time, and he said, you praise in public and you criticize in private.
Sure.
So this is a bad look for UCLA. It's a bad, situation for the AD, wondering, man, this isn't reflecting well on our university. Do we need to let him go?
Or does he trying to set the stage to vacate, to go take the Ohio State job?
Okay. So there's an ulterior motive here.
I'm not big on conspiracies, but I'm kind of connecting the dots.
Okay. And then with Chip Kelly, it just goes to show you that not every, great NFL mind is made out to be a leader of men, to be, as he said, a CEO. And yeah, you've got to be that kind of a personality. But there's a long list of guys like Roadkill on the side of the road that were brilliant minds, but just couldn't cut it at the top of the org chart.
Well, he did cut it at Oregon. I mean, what he did there, but that was a different era. That was a chunk of years ago, and that was prior to NIL, prior to transfer portal.
Was he there during the Marcus Mariota era?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that was like in the mid-teens, right?
He came as part of the Mike Bellotti arrival. And
Mhm.
Bellotti he was one of the first really great coaches in the conference in terms of throwing the football everywhere. And then Bellotti woke up and didn't want to coach anymore and went to TV. Chip took the job and he escalated upon everything that Bellotti had laid in the foundation. And he recruited the hell of skill guys. I mean, Mariota was one of the first ones in there, but then they went and got running backs, and they went and got wide receivers. Then he became a crazy man as a head coach with the blur offense. And having to play at Autzen Stadium, I've been in insane asylums. That one is really crazy.
It's a great stadium.
Football version of Viejas Arena in basketball. He did a great job. And then he wanted to go next challenge, and he went to the NFL, and that was a disaster, be it Philadelphia, be it San Francisco. End of story. And I thought when he came back to UCLA, turn the light switch on, he's going to do at UCLA what he did in Eugene, Oregon. Did not happen. And then the landscape changed. And as he said, I don't want to be a CEO of a football team anymore.
Yeah. I totally understand that. And good, turn the page, let someone else get in that seat, and hopefully they'll have more success.
But I'm sorry. He made a lot of money. They gave him a ton of things that he wanted. UCLA's got a $36 million athletic department deficit, and he walked out the door a week after the signing period. You're talking about betrayal of all the kids that committed because of you, and you walked out and you didn't even say goodbye.
So Big Ten is this year, right?
Oh, you think?
Yeah. So in a few months, right, they're going to be playing Big Ten ball. I mean, is UCLA is going to be on the bottom half of that?
I think
conference.
they're going to get lit. Now, Granted, the hiring of Deshaun Foster, the arrival of Eric Bieniemy has kind of salved the wounds of those kids. Hardly anybody, and you don't see this very often, hardly anybody's gone on the transfer portal. But that's because Foster was promoted from within, and they all liked him, and they spoke up on his behalf. But they don't have enough players. My goodness, I think it's Rutgers.
Oh yeah,
Maryland.
Yeah,
bottom feeders.
Right.
Northwestern.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those.
Yeah, you can locate UCLA in the standings adjacent to Rutgers and Maryland, and maybe Northwestern.
Indiana.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough.